Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. My name's Ben from the Problem of Being Awake. I've just done a 3-hour successful phone find, but you know what they're like when you're panicked. I found it in the recycling. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. We have a major attack on free speech in the UK and Europe. And people are getting some very serious consequences for some very minor things. Now, after I've given my 2p worth, there's a video which I'm going to show you. Comes from Winston Marshall, but it's not his ideas. It's just the news about the people who have been put in prison or have been given harsh sentences. I would recommend everybody watches that part of the video. It's half of the video. There's a longer form educational video. So I'd recommend watching Winston Marshall's just summation of the absurdity of the things people have been even put in prison for saying, and the complete two-tiered justice system that's going on. So I'd really recommend watching that after this bit. So this bit will be about 10 to 12 minutes, and then there's another 10-minute or 8-minute clip, I think, afterwards, and it'll give you a full picture. Okay, so enjoy that when it comes, and I will carry on. Do I have to adopt what I say because of that? Yeah, probably I do at this point. I don't think it can last because the media parroting the government agenda that's coming in. It's all propagandizing everything. But Keir Starmer's popularity is just through the roof. And you've seen and you've heard of, if you're in the States, you'd have heard of the UK riots. And I don't condemn rioting or violent activism. If you can't do it peacefully, you shouldn't be doing it. But I do understand some of the sentiment behind it. I wish we could have a peaceful protest. Unfortunately, I think that the protests that are trying to bring common sense back to this country are being overshadowed by both the Free Palestine gang, pro-Hamas gang, who never get, when they screamed from cars with Palestine flags on their cars, all draped all over their cars, screaming for the most horrible things in the world to be done to Jewish people, and they face no consequence. Yet somebody makes a remark that a person finds offensive, and that it's a right-wing remark, then you find that person, just for one tweet, one Facebook post, could now be going to jail. Now, the reason this is very significant at this point of time is the odds of the UK having a civil war are 33%. Now, the odds of America having a civil war are lower now. It was higher before the election, but America is it's a vast landscape with very different cultures in each state, but Britain's not. I'm waiting to see what comes out of the January consensus, but, if you look through history, the suppression of free speech is the main predictor of rioting. It is. It's the main predictor of civil war. It's the main predictor of an overturning of a regime. And we can go back to any regime in history where if you spoke out against the status quo, against the government of the time, up until the 1900s, you were killed for it, generally speaking. Galileo paid a hefty price for finding out so much about the world that was very useful to everyone else but the church. And that kind of witch hunt's still going on today, and I will call it a witch hunt, because I've just seen a video which I will make a longer video and share about it. But a lot of people are just saying common sense things. And if they happen to offend somebody, then they're being arrested. This is not a healthy way for society to go. because there's only so much you can push back as a government. You can push on a government. There's only so much a government can push on its people before its people turn around and revolt. Now, Keir Starmer has lost 49 points in favourability since he got elected, so I think there may be a chance he might get a vote of no confidence, and will Rachel Reeves, because her budget is going to destroy the UK if it is put into effect. So if you look back through modern Western history, when you put a law in place that blocks free speech, that's because why would that be in place? It's not because some people are getting offended by it. It's because so you can control the narrative of how people speak, get them used to speaking in the establishment terms. That's the idea behind it. If you've read George Orwell's Ministry of Truth, that's the idea behind that as well. So I'm going to draw a correlation that the more you suppress free speech, the more unhappy people become about their government and about the country they're living in. And if you dare to speak out and say things that are considered offensive to some people, I don't believe I don't believe I can make a video that no one will find offensive. I just don't believe it's possible in this world with so many people who deliberately look for offence in videos, etc. So people are out there doing a full-time job of policing the internet and reporting people. And when you have an internal reporting system where people who are prepared to report on their own citizens, their own neighbours, then you have the beginnings of a totalitarian state. Secret policing has always been a big part of a totalitarian state. Two-tier justice systems, huge part of a totalitarian state. There's been no justice for the people. The pro-Hamas, anti-Israel protests have been going on round the clock since October the 7th, but there have been consequences for everyone who dares to oppose that ideology. And it's not even our ideology. It's not Britain's ideology. It's not a Muslim ideology. It is a British, it is English, it is Scottish, it is Welsh, it is Irish, but it is certainly not a Muslim ideology. We have a huge Muslim population in terms of percentage. I think it's now it will be different, but before all of the mass migration in Europe, we did have the biggest percentage. And, one thing I would draw a distinction is, people are talking about Islamists more than they're actually recognizing that Islamists represent a very small part of the Muslim faith. I'm not saying a tiny part because it is too large, but they are people who believe that the radical versions of Islam, that they read the Hadith. I mean, I'm generalizing here, but I'm assuming they read the Hadith, which is far less peaceful than the Quran, which is quite a peaceful book. I think it's good. I've read the Bible, I've read the Torah, I've read the Quran, and I found that the Quran was most appealing to me. But there are things obviously we can contest, but we've got to remember that there are Muslims who follow the Quran and have made their lives here in England and are doing what they want to do. And there is an element where they haven't quite assimilated to English culture, but there's many places where they have over the last 25 years. Islamists, he said, I think I would explain the differences of the two, is a Muslim reads, this is the last and final religion, infidels must be converted. And your normal everyday Muslim will read that, and the message to them will be, well, let's see if we can convert some people to Islam because we want to bring our faith to them. The Islamist aspect of it, and there is a larger than there should be, people actively pushing hate and pushing these protests onto the British public. Islamists believe you either convert or your life is forfeit. It's a big difference. One, we want everyone to convert to our religion. So does Catholicism, so does Judaism. Everyone wants everyone to convert to their religion. But not Islamists have the condition that you convert to our religion or you can die. That's different. So we've got to make sure that we do not demonize all of the Muslim people in our country, but we've got to acknowledge that there are some who are instigating. They're being paid by Iran and Saudi Arabia and the UAE to instigate hateful crime, hateful protesting, hateful speech in our universities. They've been propagating it since 2002. I've got a video about how all of this has been funded. But the top 5 funders to our education systems are all enemies. Qatar being at the top. The UAE is second. Qatar is part of the UAE, but the amount they've donated to our education system makes them stand alone. China, you'd think, would be first. It's third. Fourth, Saudi Arabia. Never know whether they're an ally or a friend. And fifth, Iran. That's how people contribute to our education systems. And those contributions come with conditions on speakers they can entertain and various things that they have to teach. And it's kind of corrupted a whole generation, Generation Z. Now, I think I'll leave this. The world is in such a strange place that the people who fought in the Olympic final of the female boxing category were both biological men with penises. That says it all. Really, that says everything you need to do. But free speech needs a comeback in the UK desperately and across Europe desperately. America are covered, luckily. We're covered by the First Amendment, so that's a big difference. But even that is taking a big hit at the moment, and censorship is the desire and the rule of the day. So keep that in mind, and just, if you are an online person and you do, I hate the word influencer, just you're doing what you're doing. Just be mindful that you don't want to say something hateful, because it's not. One, it's never good. It can't be good to say something hateful by definition. But the people managing what's hateful have lowered the bar a fair bit. So I would always advise caution. But if they push it further, the more free speech is suppressed, the more likely a revolution is rising. That's been the case in every coup of all time, in every change of government of all time. Free speech being eroded and freedom of the press being eroded has been the thing that have pushed people over to the other side. So I'll leave it there. Okay, so I'm going to hand this over to Winston Marshall, who's got the facts and figures that really shows the worrying trend of punishment of free speech. I really recommend watching it. I hope you enjoy it. Here it comes.
The people of Britain have had enough of a tyrannical police state. Over the last few months, Elon Musk has been relentlessly posting about censorship and free speech in Britain. He even reposted a clip from my appearance on Gutfeld, where I explain what's been going on in my country and Europe.
That's not a joke. They've been clearing out the prisons to put in people now for literally Facebook memes. There's one guy in prison for a Facebook meme for 3 months. There's one woman who's doing 2.5 years for a tweet. Right? The free speech is in utter peril. It's a disgrace. It's not just England, it's the whole of Europe. It's unbelievably concerning.
Britain is turning into a police state, Musk wrote in response to the clip, which has now had over 40 million views. And Musk's comments have not been without consequence. On November 20th, MPs summoned Elon Musk about X's role in disinformation during the UK riots. However, Musk swiftly replied the next day by summoning MPs to US to explain threats to American citizens. So is the UK really a police state? You will no doubt have heard of the many people convicted for inappropriate social media posts, an issue we will go into later, but things are a whole lot more insane than that. Last week, the police investigated a 9-year-old who called a primary school classmate a retard. Police investigated school pupils who told a classmate they smell of fish. Other investigations and bookings include a woman likening another to a Rottweiler. Even a complaint about a rough haircut was logged as a, quote, hate incident. A swimming teacher was probed after a mother said her son had been allowed to bang his head against the side of the pool due to his ethnicity. A Jewish man, 63, was arrested for calling a rabbi capo. But perhaps the most insane of all, dirty pants on washing line recorded as non-crime hate incident by police. The UK is turning into a Parks and Rec skit.
You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away.
One man filmed his arrest at home.
Arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic communications network.
What? So I'm actually being arrested?
You're going to be arrested, okay?
Right.
So you got to the police station.
Right.
Okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page.
I'm going to be arrested for posting on Facebook.
Some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's
can you tell me what this comment was?
Okay, well, we'll do that when we interview.
All right. And so what am I going to be locked up for the night, or?
Hopefully not.
Yes, hopefully not, as the prisons are full. Otherwise, we will have to release some more paedophiles and murderers to make room. Oh, wait. That is actually happening. I think this man speaks for all of us when he says...
What?
What indeed? And here's another home arrest over hurty feelings.
Thanks. I just wanted to... Hi,
Jodie.
Hi.
Can I... It's not from Colchester Police Station.
Yeah, I just wanted to...
And we're also recording as well.
Yeah. Okay, great.
We'll record all way.
Brilliant.
Right.
Please sit down. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm here, unfortunately, to arrest you and take you to the police station.
Okay.
Before I arrest you, will you pop the kettle on, milk and 2 sugars? Do you mind if I smoke? This might be the most English arrest I've ever seen.
Hi,
Jodie. Thank you. I'm here, unfortunately, to arrest you and take you to the police station.
Okay.
The police are even coming after journalists like Alison Pearson of The Telegraph, who the police investigated on Remembrance Day, relating to what would later turn out to be a year-old deleted tweet. A tweet where she mistook a Pakistani political party, Tehreek-e-Insaf flag, for a Hamas flag and called the owners Jew haters. Hamas are, of course, Jew haters, but as soon as she realised her mistake, she deleted the tweet. It wasn't just Pearson. One of Britain's most prominent feminist writers, Julie Bindel, revealed that police visited her to warn they were investigating one of her tweets. She was told that a transgender man from the Netherlands had reported her. Now, before we get deeper into this, if you want to support this show, remember to press like, comment, and subscribe. If you do that, I can make more videos exploring the issues you want to hear about and the mainstream media won't touch. Now, police investigating petty name-calling and social media is no new thing. Back in December 2022, Konstantin Kisin revealed this.
In Russia last year, 400 people were arrested for things that they said on social media. Obviously, this country is very different. How many people do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
Come on.
Take a guess.
I have no idea.
3,300.
Really?
Konstantin continues to explain the case of Chelsea Russell.
There was a young woman from Liverpool called Chelsea Russell, and people can look this up. Her friend was killed in a car crash, a 19-year-old woman. And she posted the lyrics of his favorite song on her Instagram, the lyrics. And it was a rap song, so the lyrics contained several instances of the N-word. Okay? She was arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, given 500 hours of community service and a fine, tagged, and for a year she was under 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew.
My goodness.
In Britain.
Here are some more insane arrests from back then. Harry Miller, who the homicide visited for tweets such as, quote, I was assigned mammal at birth, but my orientation is fish. Don't misspecies me.
What?
There was the West Yorkshire police dragging an autistic 16-year-old from home for calling an officer a, quote, lesbian-like nana.
She's autistic! I don't care. She's autistic, I know you're arrested. I'm telling you, I've got Eunice coming. She's going to be arrested tonight. She didn't aim it at the police officer.
It's not homophobic remarks at my colleague.
It's not a homophobic remark. She said, I think she's a lesbian like Nana.
In 2018, a woman was convicted for calling a Welsh police officer a sheepshagger.
Sheepshagger.
Another person was reported for asking whether a Chinese meal came with bats. They've even come after comedians who could forget Count Dankula in 2018. It's not just comedians. Grooming gangs victim Samantha Smith was visited by the police after an appearance on GB News.
Next day, around lunchtime, 2 police officers banged on my door, demanding that I speak to them about my interview. I was on FaceTime to my friend at the time, who said to me afterwards, I genuinely thought you were going to get arrested.
One must not criticise the grooming gangs, and one must not criticise Palestine flags. In November 23, British police came to a man's home to arrest him for posting a video on Facebook.
Suppose you do not attend any events involved with Palestine, okay? The reasons why we did this is on the 17th of the 10th of 2023, on Bethel Green Road at 10:04, you witnesses saying, obviously, people, while they're over here, etc., we let them into our country, etc.
So, big deal.
Yeah, okay.
So, big deal.
Silences on the television.
Saying it. Take him. Disgusting. He's a disgusting. Absolute. I'm a stage 4 cancer patient and I need to be here.
His offence? Pointing out Palestine flags up everywhere in his neighbourhood. Here's the video.
And this is the kind of shit that's going on. Yeah. So there's a look at this. Yeah, you see it? And then over here at this one, we've got this crap going on as well. Yeah. And then we come along to this pole here, Turkish restaurant. Yeah. Look at this. Look. This is the kind of crap that we're dealing with. This is the kind of nonsense.
But since Sir Keir Starmer came to power in July this year, it's getting worse. Starmer, having ignored riots in Hare Hills, Rochdale, Whitechapel, and violence in Southend, all in his short tenure, decided to clamp down on the August riots after the Southport killings. Cameron Bell, 23, is serving 9 months for live streaming the aftermath of the riots on TikTok. That's right, live streaming the aftermath of the riots on TikTok. Lucy Connolly, the wife of a Tory councillor, was sentenced to 31 months over an ex-post which she later deleted. It read, quote, mass deportation. Now set fire to all the fucking hotels full of the bastards for all I care. If that makes me racist, so be it. Richard David Williams, 34, got a 3-month jail sentence for sharing a derogatory meme. He admitted posting a message urging people to riot on a Facebook group called Riot/Protest Re-Decide on 7th of August. Lee Joseph Dunn, 51, was jailed for 8 months after sharing 3 offensive Facebook posts, including an image showing a group of men, Asian in appearance, wielding knives in front of the Palace of Westminster. There was also a crying white child in a Union flag t-shirt. This was captioned with the wording, coming to a town near you. These are just a handful of examples of the now more than 1,000 people arrested in relation to the riots after the Southport killings. Comedian Daniel O'Reilly, aka Dapper Laugh, posted this on X.
Hugh Edwards, who paid for 41 indecent images. I'm talking about the worst, skanky, dirty, rotten images of children that you could think of. The most abusive stuff. He just got a suspended sentence, no jail time. Now make this make sense. The other day we put a pensioner, 67-year-old man in prison for 20 months, yeah, for shouting you're not English anymore at the old bill. Yeah, so words in the UK now, according to the UK justice system, words are worse than nonsense, mate.
He's not wrong. David Notley, 67, was sentenced to 20 months for violent disorder at a demonstration when he chanted, quote, you're not English anymore, at police officers. Also, Peter Lynch, 61, was jailed for 2 years for yelling, quote, you are protecting people who are killing our kids and raping them at officers with riot shields. He later killed himself in a jail cell. Prisons have been at 99% capacity since January 2023, with concerns the system is about to collapse. So Keir had an easy solution: empty the prisons. Since September, Keir Starmer has let out over 2,800 criminals from prison, releasing violent offenders who are convicted of kidnapping, grievous bodily harm, and even torturing, to make space for people who made offensive social media posts.
Jail, right away.
We're seeing the release of criminals who have served only 40% of their sentences as a means to alleviate overcrowding. One man was freed early on a Tuesday, allegedly assaulted a woman the same day, and was in court by the Thursday. A story which reads like a parody of a Craig David song. Took her for a drink on Tuesday. Another criminal who killed a teenager with a machete will be released after 6 months under Keir Starmer's scheme to make room. Meanwhile, crime's up 10% over the past year in England and Wales, according to the ONS. So what? You might be thinking, the arrest of people like Lucy Connolly were for racist, horrible tweets and social media posts. In some cases, I agree that these were horrible posts. But the reasons their sentences are so egregious, if you're not already convinced, are twofold. As Andrew Doyle explains, there is no evidence they led directly to violence.
I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, I agree with you that what they said was disgraceful and beyond the pale, but I don't agree that they should be incarcerated as a result of that. And I would actually suggest there is no evidence whatsoever that any specific tweet caused any specific real-world violence. If you have any evidence, I'd love to hear it, but I haven't heard any so far.
Well, Andrew, all I'm saying is that you might disagree with this. I trust our courts more than you and I to make that call. Now, other people might disagree with that.
It's not that I disagree. It's just that there's been over 6 decades of research into media effects theories, and we know that there is no direct causal effect between what people post online, or indeed what people consume in popular culture, and real-world harm. That's been long discredited, which is why it wasn't introduced in any of the court cases.
Rather more obviously, though, they were not themselves violent acts. Let's look at some recent violent crime convictions by comparison and their sentencing. Reese Newman, 33, is a child rapist who was spared jail due to the prison overcrowding crisis. The same judge who sentenced Lucy Connolly to 31 months had sentenced Antonio Boparan to 18 months for killing a girl in a car accident when he was driving 70 in a 30. Boparan served only 6 months. Sam Sharma, 34, got a 3-year sentence for drugging and sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. Just to remind you, Connolly got 2.5 years for a tweet. Iqbal Chan, 31, a migrant who sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl, has avoided jail. As a result, Sir Keir Starmer has earned himself the popular moniker Two-Tier Keir. But two-tier rule doesn't exist, laugh progressives and liberal elites. Two-tier rule is 1,000 people charged after the August riots, many with long jail time sentences. Meanwhile, Mohammed Hassan, caught on CCTV beating 3 Asian women in Bradford, was given a 6-month suspended sentence in August. Two-tier rule is various convictions for social media posts, but these people driving around London in 2021 were never charged. Two-tier rule is the police force at the centre of the Alison Pearson row not investigating a controversial imam who called for, quote, Zionists to be destroyed. But let's...
It's a great video. It had to be made. Hopefully I'm okay and you'll see me again. If you don't, I have been arrested because I said something. I don't know what it is, but I might have done. So hopefully not.